Well, Great Expectations didn't escape a single team coming into Challengers North America this season, but here in round 4 of the Sweet 16 marks someone's gotta go. Azure Dragon taking on Blue Otter, starting off with Haven, one of the maps that was contentious for both of them, and a comp swap to try to fix that on both sides. There's already so much to expect going into this.
It's, well, like, this is the thing, right? Because we've got our expectations. We understand how, actually, no, we don't understand anything that is really happening with how both of these teams want to work it. Of course, at this point, Azure Dragon Gaming, they've changed up the composition exactly like the Duskers kind of said, but a little bit more comfortable, if you ask me, for Blue Otter right off the rip.
Well, they'll get the fight started, and Heartless has had no trouble playing for that front line now on the Neon. Able to gain that first blood as Blue Otter will try to start making space after ADG tried to take that early fight. Now having Chaotic on that ISO as opposed to Hugh previously, who has switched back onto that Yoru. Triple swing out of the lane. This is where ADG has done quite well, and they will continue to. With 2 members getting kills, T-Dog grabbing his second, and ultimately Blue Otter will be thwarted. 399 already not showing himself for quite some time. ADG will be keen to that as well. Sacred with that Cypher swap able to nail that one too.
Now it's all down to Bob. Obviously, if you've been watching Challengers and Blue Water specifically, you would have expected the chamber pick to kind of come out here. But I like that this is kind of going back to Bob playing that initiator and a lot of the swaps that have been kind of going through. Obviously, 399 being kind of the main duelist for Blue Otter up until this point. Being swept onto the KJ, I mean, once again, the duelist to Sentinel pipeline remains strong as ever. But it still raises a couple of questions about, you know, how does Blue Otter really want to adapt themselves to be able to play things this way? And obviously, like, you know, Azure Dragon Gaming, a lot of different compositions, a lot of different agents coming through, but they're maybe more used to the chaos is the only thing that I can kind of think of. Regardless though, Bob should be able to get a spike plant here, and it will be a 3v1 retake, so gonna be a tough one.
I think everyone is gonna revel in the madness this match. That's kind of the vibe that I think both teams are gonna try to establish when you have such high caliber shooters on both sides. Nobody more falling from ADG. 3 will stay standing for the pistol take. Seeing if they can find a sheriff or 2. Yeah, they heard something. So this is a good start. Ultimately, yeah, I think, you know, coming into this, we were talking a lot about the power that the IGLs would have to maintain coming into this match, as the coaching staff is not as bolstered as a lot of the other teams in NA. Blue Otter doesn't even have one. Zostal is the one that kind of has to be that centering core both in and out of the lobby. So impressive to see that T-Dog has gotten that pistol call and gotten things started.
And just, you know, once again, looking at the compositions and how both these teams necessarily want to be playing things. I mean, you look on Blue Water's side, and it really, to me, feels like it's going to be all about those stuns between Neon, Yoru, and Omen. A lot of potential to kind of blind things out, kind of secure some corners, and swing off of it nice and quick. On the other side, though, Azure Dragon Gaming, expecting them to really just play 4 duels, and right off the rip, 399 going to be able to find bones.
Yeah, Blue Otter, I think, are very justifiably comfortable trying to go for the 1v1s as much as possible, and like you said, with all of these ways to enable those for solos, you can do a lot. Still, though, gun diff is a gun diff is a gun diff, and the follow-up is easily taken here by ADG. Funnily enough, they've been one of the better teams so far this split at taking bonuses when they lose pistols, which has happened more often, but here they've also been quite good at taking the bonuses off of pistols that they do win. So I'm interested to see what T-Dog has cooked up here.
And now that we're moving into this 3rd round, obviously, one person going down, but the rest of the team can bonus. We will be seeing Bones pick up that Phantom. And once again, Bones being one of those highlight players on Azure Dragon Gaming, meaning, you know, it's going to be in good hands, hopefully. As Blue Water, though, full rifles across the board. Zostal coming in just with that Guardian. Heartless leads the charge, and that's a lot of information that T-Dog has just found out.
Yeah, no trouble peeking that lane this early in. Till that gets deconditioned, he can just continue doing it and call accordingly. Gonna let Hugh take up that C lane in response. Just already try to corner Blue Water, but again, it seems like they want to take comfort in that to a degree. And you do still have 399 outstretched. I love this idea to put him on the KJ. Already been dying to go for the lurks in the solo space control, having him do that on that Sentinel lurking for Haven feels like the perfect spot to test it.
Yeah. Top of that too, keep in mind, dropping the gate crash all the way over, but as that picks it up, it should give an indication of maybe where Blue Otter are going, but given where the spike positioning is, I mean, it's just an information game right now in Blue Water. They're not really biting yet as time continuing to tick down here.
Yeah, T-Dog isn't usually phased by these implants, so he's going to keep 4 stacked up on A. Hugh will finally get that connection out of the gain space down the lane, and will duck out, just tossing the decoy.
Flip through now going to happen. Hugh smartly backing things up here.
Yeah.
Just going to wait for the rest of the team to group up, but spike goes down a lot for Azure Dragon Gaming to kind of make this retake happen, especially with all their SMGs.
Massive props to Hugh for deciding to stay back on that. That was one of the bigger weaknesses that we've seen from him so far this split. Just, especially on the Yoru, the fact that he's just dying to get back in there. Now he'll get his chance after the swath of stuns that come through from Blue Water. How many guns do you lose along the way here? Everybody's quite low, actually. Tuesday taking that front line, knocking it down to 1v2. Zostol grabs the one. Has to save this if ADG swiped another bonus. The IGL at the center of it all, but can't land the damage. 13 HP between Blue Otter and a 3-0 scoreline, but they make it work.
Jeez, and yeah, at that point, like, ADG, they're just like, all right, guys, we have the smaller guns, but they do shoot faster. What if we just ran in all at the same time and just held it down? And yeah, you could tell, like, it's just, especially in some of those close quarter combat situations with where the smokes get placed down, they're forcing a lot more of that closer fight. And so it's just going to work things out. One thing that I really liked on that defense was Hugh's positioning on that Yoru. Obviously, trying to play the advantage of the fact that they need to be a little bit more together given the weapon disadvantage. The Yoru allowed for a lot more mobility, pushing all the way out C, but having that gate crash available to come back up A just in case that's where Blue Otter decide to end. So a lot of neat ideas on this defense here with the Yoru, but Bones right off the rip takes Zostol right out of the equation.
Just already able to grab something off of the mere couple seconds that T-Dog can stall with this peak. Blue Water prepared for it, but not willing to toss utility. And again, so early on, and ADG takes advantage. Squeezing water out of a couple stones here already. Very respectable.
The defense is, honestly, I like this setup. Based on the positioning that Hugh gets and having the Cypher trips to play off of, 399 so aware, but Hugh actually misses the shot there, and 399 able to escape. So glancing blows, but never mind.
Wow.
Killjoy goes down, and there goes that lurk for Blue Water.
Yeah, much more to lose as well. Swipe in from Heartless. They've got to make something work now. Sacred does a hell of a lot of chip to Tuzi even on the way down after the 1-for-1.
30 seconds left.
So ADG has really denied everybody trying to get a foot in the door this round. Once again, shout out to Hugh in that neutrality on C, knowing that 399 would go for something like that again after such an early fight. Got to train Blue Water to get safer. Hopefully they do before the end of the half. Still, plant goes down on the B site. Hugh with the quick re-entry. Just down to Bob. For the first time on the Sova, as the desk was saying, and she'll grab hers at nothing more.
Yeah, ADG. I cannot understate the value that Hugh has been kind of getting by holding down C long. And you can tell, like, Blue Water, when it comes down to it, they do still look a little bit disjointed on this attack currently. Whatever is kind of going on, they're non-committal to any of the sites here. And by the time they actually decide to commit on one of them, it's usually after one of the first kills has gone through. Whether or not it is on that A site, or it's Hugh being able to make sure that 399 not able to get any of the lurk potential online. Just this kind of like 3-1-1 split that we've been seeing on that defense has been really making it difficult for Blue Water. And now they're forced back onto a save. So Heartless will have this Bucky here. T-Dog doing a lot of that initial scouting, but Blue Water, they're just going to take things nice and slow and are going to be trying to make that A site happen. But I like the trip being set up as well. Give all the more information over to the two defenders hanging out on this site.
Yeah, letting Chaotic continue to just play that gatekeeper as well as he plays a gate crasher. Spotted by the drone, stun out by Heartless. The follow-up is, again, just a tad bit slow, and the guns cannot make up for that gap this round. That's just a collapse through the decoy. It doesn't even matter to him. And now Chaotic will play the final doorstop shortly. Nope, more in front of it. And Sacred, the trap wire does more than just make Chaotic feel safe. It lets him space out, let the rest of ADG get back super quick, and gives him an easy 4-1 on the anti-eco.
It's so interesting because I want to pick up on something that you said. It looks slow. And I think that that is such an important fact here, given the fact that this composition that Blue Water are bringing in is so heavy on these stuns, right? Like the flash goes out, the stuns go out. You expect to see Blue Water follow up on it, but it's just disjointed enough, ADG creating just enough space that a lot of it goes unpunished. And then, well, the whole point of the composition kind of gets dismantled there. As the Dimensional Drift does scout out C, it's going to be a heavy attack on C.
Yeah, Blue Water very easily allowed to be speedy for at least the approach, but now the defenders, Hunter's Fury, as well as the Dimensional Drift, just going hunting for what's already on the site. Responsive Hunter's Fury, but after two have already gone down, and Hugh is unaccounted for outside of the Drift. Bob able to grab one, now defending herself in lane, but stands alone. ADG feel comfortable pushing. What is left? It takes 3, but ADG have more than enough, and now they've got 5 on the board. This is just looking very well responsive from ADG thus far. They have the tools to stop whatever Blue Water's throwing at them.
Yeah, the ult economy heavily working out in their favor. They're like, oh yeah, you got all these ultimates? Well, guess what? We have all these ultimates too. Hugh just kind of sending it down immediately. T-Dog as well, interjecting just a bit more chaos. And then that's really when Blue Water look like they're on their back foot. I mean, they used all these ultimates to be able to get into the site, but they're not even able to get the spike plant down in time, making it just that much more difficult. Really scrambling right now as they make this one try and happen again. Heartless going in.
And once again, foot to the floor as much as you can get it. And Heartless will get one. And again, it's about making the space in the second step. Spray down on the close range. Sacred's going to decide to keep this on top of his second cage. And Tuzi is just going to find his way in on the kill contract and kill Chaotic. God, no matter who picks ISO on ADG, there's just nothing going well with it so far. A thrifty for Blue Otter in one of the last crevices this half that they could nab one. And the momentum, at least for the one time, Marcus, has shifted.
It really feels like both these teams are just like, we're just gonna full send it and we're gonna full respond right now. Absolute chaos, an absolute cluster happening on that B site. Ultimates getting utilized, people sliding around, people, you know, diving in, threading the needle in between each other based on some smokes. And it just comes down to raw gunplay and reflexes by the end of it. Somehow Tuzi as well being able to win out that kill contract against Chaotic proved to be absolutely pivotal, but an adaptation on the defense here for ADG. Given the fact that they are trying something new, they push up through A, but once they see nothing, well, it's going to be back off. This is going to be the lockdown available. Sacred playing it up forwards.
You can see Blue Water want to necessitate a timeout to come out from ADG. They want that to be the only thing that can stop them right now. They are just going 0 to 100 when the barriers drop since they've got their win. And a slide in on top of that lockdown. Bones just walks in on it. And TP back with 399's already taken the gong, quickly refragged. And ADG have every response yet again. 6-2, dominant fashion for this B take that was once again with that high caliber tempo. Question is, what could Blue Water do next?
A great job kind of playing counter to the lockdown there from ADG. 399 puts that thing down. It should clear the site. It should clear the site. And yet still in the middle of all of it, Hugh, still just kind of spamming things down, letting them know it's not safe to be able to re-enter. And as soon as the lockdown expires, you know, obviously Hugh gets out of there, but it's Bones tossing out the paranoia, and then suddenly the door gets slammed right in Blue Otter's faces. An excellent response to kind of counter that ultimate without really using any of their own. And so this is looking fantastic from ADG so far.
It takes a strong conscience to tell Bones to stop lurking on Haven, but he's taken on this new role quite well. There is the flash entry that you're hoping Blue Water can find with this type of composition, and it will grab a positive trade until T-Dog catches Zoe on the TP in. Rest of Blue Water trying to play the cavalry, and with the stun they do, Heartless almost misses out on T-Dog and pays for it with his life. But it'll be a 3v1 on a quick A take off of that little skirmish in the lobby.
Man, I remember how I said just at the beginning, the composition of ADG is going to be a lot more just focusing on those individual kills, but so far Blue Water showing the exact same thing here. Sacred 1v3 now. This one's gonna be a tough one.
Feels like what you need to do with this composition. Find the weakest prey and sink your teeth into it. Follow suit with whoever hears that and tries to fight it next. Blue Water is kind of hoping that ADG has that kind of lineup as they bum rush back to a site. That's why they want to take them so quickly. So, you know, taking any personnel advantage means big things for them, but it also means that arguably they want to go even faster than they already are. It is a tough rhythm that they are claiming that they're able to manage on this comp switch against a team that was already uncertain about their composition. So I'm wondering what tipped off Blue Water to make these adjustments. It might have just, I mean, it could just be a comfort thing. Maybe Heartless is just feeling like taking a lot more distance.
Oh. Flash out immediately. A good read on the enemies there. Completely negates a lot of that ADG presence. But still, T-Dog and Bones push themselves forwards. And honestly, it's so interesting watching this defense with how they want to set things up. Sure, T-Dog gets spotted out, but as soon as any information goes, then we see immediately Bones is going to be able to pop that paranoia. Hugh, though, still the anchor on C site has not been tested yet, and now finally will be.
Not even going to bother with that T-Dog presence, knowing what potential traps may lay there. They know that's going to be his spider's web. Get as far away from the sticky bits as possible onto an unloaded C site, where that lack of KJ utility makes it easier to plant just a tad bit faster. And Sacred on the Sheriff as well couldn't spray his way through the problem.
Bob's so far behind, though, in spawn as Tuzi gets blinded.
Yeah, and 2 away from the ulti, so you're hoping she has lineups or, yeah, the confidence to dash back with the knife so she can get back in time for the post. There's more than enough time for this, and now more than enough players. Tuzi, dry swinging and grabbing 3. Good stuff, bud. The gap has certainly been lessened by Blue Water, but already you were hoping that this attack half would grab beyond 6, so it's going to be an uphill battle from here and going until they reach 13.
I mean, hey, you know what? For both of these teams, technically speaking, it could still be an uphill battle.
That's true.
Honestly, like, stat-wise, these teams are extremely similar. I mean, both of them right now sitting at that 0-3 score line. Both of them have kind of faced pretty good teams, some of the best in the league thus far.
Yeah.
And well, once again, this is for elimination. Both of them as well facing off against each other so recently, just outside of VCL. Gonna be the Dimensional Drift to start us out here. It's gonna be an A-side attack. And already it's a lot faster tempo in order to scale off of the information that the Yoru gained.
Not enough people in A site. That means Blue Water are going to take it. Simple subtraction. Voln into the Hunter's Fury to hunt down on default spike plant. Blue Water are once again a little quicker than the punches, but Heartless still takes the chip. Decoy sent out on Heaven. Nobody's convinced. Heartless blinded, but still able to spray down Hugh. And Blue Water still have all of their positions intact. Against this mild save, the range will save most of the day. And it's Bones and Sacred, the 2 most consistent shooters thus far in last year's North American tour, that are gonna try and pick up what pieces they can, but his presence was quite stalwart from beginning to end here. As soon as Blue Water got on that A site, they held onto it for dear life. Decoy and Paranoia be damned.
Now Sacred, 1v3. Not much you can do at this point except try and find a couple of exit kills. Going down as well, we'll be able to get the Neural Theft online for next round. But yeah, Blue Water have completely swung back. It looked a lot more tempered. It looked a lot more, you know, hesitated coming out from Blue Water. And what a way to run around to end the Killjoy turret, finding Sacred in the end there. But Blue Water, like, once again, it felt like a bit of confidence got injected into how they want to play it. Obviously, you know, a lot of equipment for flashes. Well, we're not really playing off of each other. We're just playing the push forwards individually and find those individual kills. And this time, with that confidence, it's kind of working out better for Blue Water. They're fraggers on their team as well, and they're not afraid to show ADG that they're going to be able to be out, shoot right back at them. And I guess we're just going to be doing Sacred very dirty by giving all the different angles.
The double replay on him, dude.
Oh my God, double op Tedrek on Blue Water. Double op offense. This is something else.
I mean, if we're being as individualistic as we already are, why the hell not? Tuzi has not played with Heartless very much for these pushes. And again, T-Dog is going to be keen to that pretty early on into this. So why hide any of that? That being said, T-Dog has swapped up his position now over to Garage in the final round of the half. And so this double op to start down the 2 main lanes is going to get 0 value.
And look at Hugh's positioning as well. Chaotic going to be playing front man. Give a little bit of that distraction. Hopefully allow the order to kind of pop out of nowhere, but that's going to be a huge kill right off the rip.
Tuesday catches it. Hugh's not revealed, so he'll get his, but it will be refragged. And now that that presence has been confirmed, I don't think Bones got saw though, so I'm not entirely sure where the rest of the team is. That means you go to A though.
They're going to be walking right into Sacred's trap here. All these trap wires good for information. Of course, the neural theft online as well. Sacred really just kind of needs to stay alive in the midst of all this pressure. And that's a lot of info.
And the decoy at least gets in front of the opener, so Heartless can pop the overdrive, but Sacred's already dropped down to it and caught him. Once again, it's refragged. Stuzy can get ahead. Cypher util's cleared. Still personnel advantage. Zoe can turn on to T-Dog. Good timing. IGL to IGL, and now Omen to Omen. Zoe clears the last 2 to make it an even game going into the swap. Blue Otter playing like they're facing relegation here, Marcus.
What's good, like, you see that 5-1 scoreline at the first half of that first half, and you're like, oh, okay, well, ADG, clearly they've just lit a fire under them. They're shooting well. Everything's going to be good. And then Blue Water were like, now watch this. And just start fragging it right back at them. A couple of mishaps happening on both sides of these teams. Once again, everybody just kind of playing for their own life, playing to be like, well, I got mine. And it's kind of like, even when you look at the kills, it's so even across the board right now. It's so chaotic. Like, you know, we could talk about nice and coordinated and simple Valorant or anything like that, but sometimes it's just get in there and frag your butt off, man. And that's kind of how these two teams are clashing.
You just hope they have fun. Lady G, with this ISO, you're wondering how they're going to approach it now that it's not on Hugh, and Chaotic's gonna take that raid boss mentality that he normally already does take and use it to nab the first blood, the garage space, the C plant with the rest of the spear that is ADG's attack.
A little bit of a gap being exposed by Blue Otter, and you see ADG, they just go in garage, take over the site, and then immediately just back themselves out and are now starting to re-clear through garage. So plenty of time for Blue Water to kind of get this wraparound, but they're going to be met with 2 duelists in this weird off angle if Bob doesn't shut it down.
Don't have much to block it off though, and Bob only, yeah, with those shock darts, she's got to play a guard dog, and Hugh's already cleared 2. And Chaotic's wrap from Link is going to be what saves him.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, ADG, they really cleared the stage early on there and made it their own. So that was another just beautifully controlled pistol by them. Just such a good lockdown on those opening rounds on halves across all the matches they played.
And it's funny, but like all of these crazy, ridiculous frags, it really comes down to just simple map control. Obviously, playing the numbers advantage works out in your favor or anything. But then when you got the 2 duelists re-swinging, you know, you get the kills nice and early on. You just see the team just walking around looking for their individual frags, and thus they control different lanes of information. And that's kind of the only name of the game for both these squads right now. If you're able to find the kill, you can more or less confirm that nobody's going to be walking down this lane. Not really playing off of a lot of that util. Just very focused on finding those kills. Buy up here only for Heartless on Blue Otter after losing the pistol round yet again. As Hugh moves up with this outlaw in hand. But we've seen Heartless kind of do some disgusting things. 399 going down early though.
Yeah. Squeezing the water out of the stone. Knowing there's going to be that patroller. And not close up. If Bob hasn't already shown herself, which, yeah, she's still posted up in the garage, waiting for the other lurk, who again is not Bones. I can't stress this enough. Telling Bones, hey, can you stop lurking and also top fragging on Haven? Insane work, but dude, it's doing numbers. And Bones is still finding the opportunities to play forward on top of himself, and he's still looking so crisp. So, no complaints so far.
30 seconds left.
Flood in now going to be happening here right off of this recon drone. Smoke coming out early here, and Hugh gets that kill.
Gotta just compress and get what you can. And no real lethal damage done from anybody. Heartless, good attempt with the Bucky. It'll chip Hugh down. But that'll end up being a decisive round here from ADG.
Spike planted.
Not much time left on the clock after all is said and done, but homework had to be done, so.
Looking very reminiscent of round number 2. How ADG wanted to play this one. And a good shot from Bob, though, to really make it seem like deja vu. Never mind, Bob finds another. Okay, just 3 on the board there for Bob. And that makes it a lot. Not as clean on this second round after pistols here for ADG, but regardless, they still walk away with it. And Bob now has that Hunter's Fury on line. And specifically on the defense, that could do a really good job at clearing out some of these lanes, depending on the speed and positioning of how ADG want to play these next rounds.
Yeah, that was actually pretty value for Bob. like completely and utterly. Like ADG have almost nothing to justify really trying to go for this bonus. And like you said, already having the Hunter's Fury, like, you can always count on Bob to get at least the 1, but the fact that she got 3 there, incredibly influential. Blue Otter's chances to be able to have a foothold on this defense early in the half.
Oh, spotting out by the alarm bot, but ADG, they're really just going to run this one down through garage yet again.
Flush out with the Vaughn. Chaotic just hopping up on the window to keep him entertained. You're not entirely sure where to go here if you're Blue Otter, because you don't know how sandwiched you're going to get. The B-Link presence isn't even fully confirmed yet. Now the TP in from Hugh will control the C site, but it'll be a fake the whole way through. Pot shots from the B door get traded away as 2Z turns on to Sacred, and ADG is losing presence and quick.
Oh, and look at Zosol's positioning as well.
Yeah.
Could prove to be pivotal if they're not aware of that positioning. And actually, looks like they're calling an audible. They're going to try and wrap around for C here. It's looking a little dangerous.
And Bob's been wrapping around that way the entire time. Everybody is leaning that way anyway. ADG ran out of options and just fell into a lack of one in that finality of the bonus. Truly nothing to offer going into it after Bob was able to do all that damage in the follow-up. So we'll be on even footing here at 8-7, and ADG's attack still has a couple question marks over it with this comp change back with Sacred on that Cypher as opposed to the KJ. You have to have a little more flank watching available, especially against people like Zosol and Heartless now on this Neon. And then Chaotic on the ISO. Again, like the ISO has been having trouble for this team on this map. But Hugh was the one that was using it more often. So seeing how Chaotic is trying to find that more than 1-for-1 value consistently out of these pushes, because it is necessary for this team to get ahead.
And Hugh buys an operator in this round. What is going on, man?
I love it.
That is such a heavy investment here. And 2Z able to get out, but Hunter's Fury gonna get used very early on and goes fishing only to find nothing. ADG this time around looks like they are trying to just get that positioning, have Chaotic, go a little bit more exploratory, feign a bit more presence, maybe find a kill to allow for safer passage onto this A site. But given the positioning of where the spike is, it's going to be a lot more of that closer brawl style if Hugh finds that first shot, but not going to be the case.
That would have been so pivotal. The reason that they wanted to push this now is that Bob doesn't have any intel now after that Hunter's Fury is gone. This is the window to go in without any counter action, and indeed they'll find the collapse, the 3-stack, and no ability to understand where they're coming from in that pocket. ADG have found it themselves. And it's a 5v2 for this retake. I don't even think Blue Otter considers this.
Recalling my bot.
Yeah, I wouldn't if I was them. I mean, obviously, you know, you won the last round here, but it was a very heavy investment. And in order to look forward to better days, better rounds, you got to make sure you got the weapons for it. Zosol, though, just with the Guardian, that's a little bit more to try and explore and punish maybe a bit more of the economy of ADG. Ships passing in the night right now. 2 Omens. Not going to make any contact whatsoever.
Truly trading shadows. Well, you'll get somebody else in the crowd, surely, right? I mean, yeah, again, nabbing a rifle here would be nice. But that was, yeah, just a good call and timing from T-Dog there to get ADG in the window after Bob had kind of let everything loose. I respect her wanting to make sure that there's not the early flood and then the Hunter's Fury to get the intel in that window, but it's still so wide with how quickly she did all of it, and they were already kind of leaning over to the sewer, so they had that ability to just kind of take the space. Would have been even better if you got that opening kill with the operator. That would have really sealed it even quicker, but that just goes to show that the sky's the limit for ADG if they can get out of dodge here.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? Like, you talk about Bob using the Hunter's Fury kind of early, and right off the rip, ADG see that and are like, okay, go away, go away, go away. And Bones gets a huge paranoia to allow that to be such an easy sight hit. Being able to find early kills on and gain all that presence. Zosol, though, up top, spray down 3 members. Make sure that T-Dog is completely neutralized here. And so this early poke, early try and get that information is not really going to work out. As once again, it's going to be, hey, Chaotic, go find a bit more site presence. Go find a little bit more chaos. If you walk away with kill, that'd be amazing. The rest of us are going to be taking our talents over to that A site.
It was already a little weird. T-Dog peeking that before Chaotic even strolled around the courtyard corner to check it. And then pops shield after getting implanted in garage for the audible to force the lean. I mean, I guess you have less defenders on that A site now. You're still playing at a disadvantage for the retake. They desperately want Chaotic to find a kill, and he almost will on Heartless. Yeah, long game for a little bit longer, and then they'll get the spike down. This is such a weird pivot from Chaotic, bro.
Yeah, it's kind of just like, go do your own thing, but the thing is, oh no, timing almost works out well for Chaotic, but at least that position will be taken care of. Hugh, though, with that operator finds Tuzi.
Yeah, no one can really counteract it. The relay bolt's gonna force the TP away after the shot. Doesn't land, that was close though. Finally making himself known. Bones for 2 from Graffiti. Again, just refusing to get cleared away. No individuality whatsoever except from the side of ADG, who gets to double digits after holding down that A post plant like it was nothing.
Multiple of their members not necessarily holding W key. Maybe Chaotic was the only one there. Really, I think it's just kind of like a distraction technique at the end of the day. Like, uh-oh, we got an ISO running around in our backline, so I guess we have to manage that one. But then meanwhile, Hugh being the tip of the spear with the operator, the offensive op, playing so close by and playing really up into their faces, as a Bones just being the very reliable anchor after that spike goes down. So Blue Otter have just having such a tough time getting anything going here onto this defense. But well, it's looking very familiar to that first half, so I wouldn't really count them out just quite yet. As, okay, 399 finds a lot of information.
This is the value that KJ brings, and 399 very willing to handle as much of this by himself as possible, but it ain't much with the help of that Stinger, so out we go. Handing C over to ADG. Going into phase 2 of what damage they can chip away at.
Kill contract also available. Thanks to Chaotic getting that spike down. Blue Water try to find a way to make some damage happen.
Zoe's smoke is back, so lane is cleared away. That's, yeah, I mean, that's all they can really guarantee off the drone. That paranoia is ridiculous from Bones. Say goodbye to your first approach. TP into the boxes. Hey, they made it to the back line. There's just that one guy left. Kill contract. Oh, did that catch a decoy? No. Oh no, it caught 399. Chaotic's got that easy. And this should be the guns kind of wading through the water here. Especially with that ISO ult. They keep it clean, they keep it easy. Make sure there's no decent opportunity to close the gap that would let those guns kind of match up. Bob is always good for one though. Keeping it entertaining.
Level heads until we're home, yes?
Yeah, ADG. Looks like they're ready to kind of close out this map. I don't want to speak too soon here. They've gotten their 5 rounds to 1 on this half here, but excellent just like positioning and awareness coming out from all these different players. Obviously having Chaotic as that backup just in case the spike is going to get defused. You know, Bones playing it back. Bones once again being such a good highlight player, has such great timings with that paranoia. I'm going to be honest with you, ADG, not necessarily like running it down, but they're so good with their util and so good with their entry on just being able to play together and force a lot of those Blue Otter members back. And they're really just doing a great job at taking those opening first bloods up against Blue Otter and winning things out. Blue Otter still just kind of looking for a little bit of something, Bob. Spots out a lot of presence, but smartly will back out of this one. Hugh this time going to be the one going exploring as gets caught out of position so hard. So now Chaotic will have to be the duelist to try and bring us into one of these sites.
Stuck around for a hot minute there. How long does that keep these two on A lane? And how much does that matter? No paranoia to enter now that it was used on Bob and Garage previously. And the smoke on top of the B door means you don't have any entry tools on you at this point, other than maybe just like following a drone. They need a safer opportunity, or at least that guarantee that there isn't anything on the B side, which there is not. Recon Bolt to do a due diligence of helping find that out, and all the while, we're getting Chaotic up Garage again. 1 down. Now bullhorning over 2, that sends the rest of ADG over to try to take place in the fight, and that is the biggest mistake they could think to make. Tuzi nabs 3, and Blue Water once again finds their leg up here in the game.
Blue Water doing a great job that time around of controlling all of the space on this map here. You see, like, as soon as that first kill kind of goes through, they're like, okay, yeah, pivot. Let's go to C. Let's go to C. Despite the fact that B was wide open. That was actually because Blue Water had gotten themselves set up onto that C site. And really, ADG just walked into a trap. They second-guessed themselves onto that B site, assumed that C was going to be nice, clean, and easy, and Tuzi just guns them down. Excellent little hold there, just by kind of delaying things. It's a lot of utility right off the rip, looking for an early kill. Zostil, though, with that operator, not able to find one.
Such a strange decision to put the operator on him, and now cornered away. Hunter's Fury chasing him down. And Blue Water do not have enough to hold on this defense. Bob does make it back. Puppy guarding the spike, but two collapsing on top of the neural theft. Let Sacred take over and let the double swing deal with the rest. It's messy, but it's still unabashedly ADG that now have 4 rounds to gain point.
Match point.
Yeah, they used their ultimates that time. The previous time we've seen their ultimates was, hey, let's just hold on to it until we see Blue Water pop all of
Their buy is
theirs.
so bad, dude.
And you know what? Hey, this time around, we're just going to make sure that we can secure the round to make it so that, exactly like you said, Blue Water's buy is going to be an interesting one. The only saving grace here is all of those ultimates online. Interesting thing, we're seeing Heartless still go up for the rifle, despite the overdrive being online to kind of compensate for that lack of weaponry. So know that there is a bit more emphasis on having this Neon frag out, but on this half, it's just been dominant from ADG in how they attack things. And they've already gotten so much space on B. They just need to be able to pick up the spike as Tuzi shuts Sacred down, at least denying the information there.
Ooh. That's one way to get B site. Kind of just stepping out into it here, and so 399 gonna be forced to do the same and grant Blue Water something to hold on to.
Okay.
Weird timing on the Hunter's Fury here, but damn, it'll do a lot of damage. Wow. And now the KJ ulti to follow up. And you can cycle through this. Dimensional Drift will come next. Tuzi has a good position to execute it, especially after getting all that noise onto Hugh on the exit. Once again, flushed out one way or the other, and now guard dogging the defuse as Bones has circumnavigated. Can't make it back to the spike in time. So Blue Water will hold on. It's 9-12, 2 rifles to their name. Eco still very dicey.
Yeah, Eco's still very dicey, and Ultimate Eco also feeling dicey as well. I don't really know how I feel about the fact that they had to use 3 ultimates there to be able to win that one out. I mean, especially too, you pop the Hunter's Fury, you pop the lockdown, and then the Dimensional Drift comes out as well just at the very end to make sure that they secure the round, despite the fact that the numbers advantage was already into their favor. So Blue Otter really reaching deep into their pockets to be able to win out that round. Now they're just left with Heartless's overdrive being the only tool there. Given the fact that we're seeing that judge come forwards, I'm imagining this might be the round if things kind of go crazy here. Blue Water has to play this one flawless, and Tuzi at least able to get 1, but 2 people go down on the other side, and now Hugh get a Dimensional Drift on site and get a lot of that information.
Yeah, deciding to meet the swarm and already found out by the Dimensional Drift. You can just solely target him, make the overdrive just a complete non-starter. Yeah. ADG take A, unquestionably. I mean, that felt so effortless to just completely deny that ultimate. And now you own the space, you own the clock. You still have Zostil making his way back, but now he'll get double checked. This feels pretty cut and dry.
Oh.
One last T to cross. And that'll do it. Chaotic, able to turn the whole board into his playing field, and ultimately Azure Dragon Gaming make more changes and more success out of that first map. They will have the leg up in this pre-relegation match.